And we're here with our next guest. Russ, can you please introduce yourself?
Hey, hi, David. My name is Russ Chadinha. I'm with 8x8. I lead their product marketing for things like video products.
Thanks for being here. Now, I've been working with 8x8 a lot over the last year, and you guys were going really heavy into video. You had an acquisition, adding all of these video features to your products. Customers were starting to use it. Your usage was rising, and everything was turning up video for 8x8. And then the pandemic hit and changed everything. It must have just exploded what you were doing. So, what do you have to share from 8x8's point of view from someone who was rising with video from a rise to an explosion in the last few months?
Yeah, David, it's been an amazing ride. So video's been in our service. If you think about our unified communication as a service product, it's always been there and been a part of that. And so customers have always had the ability to use phone, they could use chat, and then they could use video conferencing. It's there. And then we could see the evolution of how video was starting to become more prominent in the way that we engage, not just within our own companies, but also with customers and suppliers and collaborating through the video conferencing capability. And we even participated in the open source piece. And through what we saw recent events, and we've seen 100 times increase in our monthly active users. And so that kind of scale of adoption is unprecedented, but we've seen now it become ubiquitous in terms of its usage. So it's been an amazing ride, and we've learned a ton from it. But as you and I were talking a little bit about, and just wanted to share this, we've seen video. I used to use it years ago in these things called Halo rooms, and it was really no latency, high definition, high audio, and I could do 3 other rooms around the world, right? So there could be like 4 different meeting points. Each one of those was $1 million each. So it was $4 million to have this meeting. Today you can pop over to 8x8.com, sign up for a video service for 99 cents for a month, right? So it's like, as we were talking about, it's like hard drive storage. It's become literally free.
But the key is, we think of it as a $5 a month commodity, or in your case, free, right? 8x8 by 8
Yeah.
by 8.vc. I could just make a free call at any time. But it really is $1 million value. We laugh about the fact that, oh, people were spending $1 million for a video room. But think about it. They were spending $1 million for video rooms, and these are not dumb people. These were very, very successful companies that know exactly what they're doing. So if they're spending $1 million for video, that means it has $1 million value. And the only reason that the rest of us weren't using it is because we couldn't afford $1 million. So now we have that value and this accessibility, and the pandemic forcing us all to give it a shot. It's just aside from the huge unfortunate misery aspects of it, for video really is a perfect storm. And 8x8 must be like, how is this all happening right as we're, and again, you guys aren't new to video, but I always thought of 8x8 as a UC product that has video. And the way you guys have been working it lately, I'm thinking of you guys as a video company with a UC product. It really has been a shift. Um, is it It's almost like you guys foresaw this. Were your customers demanding stronger video, or were you just seeing it coming?
It was a little of each, right? Because you try to get ahead of what customers are thinking about based on use cases and things that they're trying to do for their business. But also customers were looking for ways to, how can I engage in a different way? We talk about digitalization, digital transformations, but how do you do it? What does that look like? What business model are you trying to actually, put in place and deploy? But I'll give you some examples that we see that, as we had been talking with customers, now recent events have actually accelerated their ability to go do this. And just a few examples, if we think about healthcare delivery, which seems like an obvious one, but the reasons why are really, really interesting. So if you think about a healthcare worker today in the front lines, they're exposed to all the different maladies that patients may have. If I can start the initial patient and diagnosis in a telemedicine way, it's much safer for everybody. It's much easier for the patient. They don't have to move and come into the facility. So I can expand my reach I can get out into rural areas, which we see, are desperate need of medical care. I can now expand the reach. I can do it in a safer way, and I can do it in a more cost-effective way. And I'll give you, one of our customers is services underprivileged children. So if you think about pediatrics, their ability now to affordably reach these children in different locations is now extending and expanding and enhancing the ability to deliver healthcare to these other underprivileged audiences. And a personal experience, just to give a personal experience here with mine, is I called up the doctor and said, hey, I'd like to set up a visit to just follow up as a consultation. And they looked at it and said, well, the next time that we can do this is 2 months out. And they said, well, I'd like to do this. And they said, oh, I can do that tomorrow. So we now have, it's actually a much more convenient way for them to deliver care. And I don't know, David, have you seen your openness to telemedicine actually increase due to recent events?
Yeah, again, it's anecdotal, but I have a very similar story, and I was very pleased and surprised. I have an old shoulder injury. I broke my collarbone, 20 years ago, and every once in a while it starts to hurt. So I go to the doctor, and she tells me how many aspirins I can take and gives me some stretches to do or whatever. And it started acting up again. And I'm in Florida, and I'm a little scared to be out in public in Florida if you watch the news. So I called the doctor, and my perception, even as someone in the video industry, someone who writes articles and does interviews about telemedicine, is that the doctor really is going to want to see me, and she might do telemedicine if I really, really push for it. But it was like you said, it was the exact opposite. She said, if you want to meet with me in person, my next appointment is in 2 months because I'm only having one person in at a time. We're not having people in the waiting room. But if you want to do it over video, we can do it tomorrow. And I was like, I prefer to do it over video. And I'm like, it's not, and it wasn't like, I wish I'd gone a real visit. I'm not convinced that I'm going to be helped. I told her what's going on. I showed her it hurts when I do this, hurts when I do this. She looked at my chart. She knows what's going on. She said I can take a few more Advils. I'm good to go. And I'm just thinking about, again, after the pandemic, I still want to do it this way. It's like everyone's finally listening to us. We've been saying for a long time, guys, telemedicine, give it a shot.
That's it. And one of the things that you find that's surprising, this surprised us, is how do you take care of the pets and the veterinarians? And you think, of course, let's bring a dog into a telemedicine situation, have the diagnosis consultation right there over the video. It's much more effective. I don't have to bring them anywhere. I could do it in a much more convenient, because they're in the home way. And so we're seeing veterinarians also start to deliver care through video, which makes perfect sense.
Yeah, when you think about it, whenever I bring my kitty to the vet, 90% of it is just a conversation. I mean, it's not like the cat can say, yeah, when you poke here, it hurts. Or yeah, my tummy has been feeling a little upset when I've been eating too much dry food. The cat's just there for us to play with while we talk. Most of it is us saying, oh, the cat's tummy's been bothering him. So yeah, you could absolutely do it over video. And it's stressful and scary. We did want to, we have a new kitten and time for the shots and everything. And we drive up there and you sit in the car and someone comes out to the car and takes your animal and brings it inside. It's not the experience that it used to be when you're sitting in the room with your vet and being comfortable and familiar. I would have much rather done it over telemedicine. But I didn't even think about that. I'm always thinking about telemedicine for people, but yeah, it makes sense for pets. Any other verticals you're seeing interesting uses like that?
I'm sorry, David, I didn't catch that.
Oh, any other verticals? Healthcare has always been a big one. Are you finding any other cool uses in other markets?
Yeah, we are. And let me give you kind of one that nobody thinks about. So let's say you're a farmer. I'm out in the field and my tractor breaks. Now farmers are pretty self-reliant, as is today, but now they have the ability to connect with an agent, let's say a technical support person back at the dealership, or they can do it all the way back to the implement provider and get real-time feedback as they look at, so they the ability to, okay, here's the part that I know is broken. What are my options in terms of getting this fixed real time because farmers, when they're in the field, that they have a very small window of opportunity to get that crop in or to get that crop out, and so now they have the ability to see what part is actually needed. If it's going to take a service event because the farmer can't fix it on site, then they know exactly what to bring. And if you think about this, right, rolling a truck of any kind of service event, the numbers that I see kind of vary, but it's about $50 for any kind of truck roll. So all you need to do is remove one truck roll a month, and it pays for itself in terms of the use case to use video and engage with these field service events. So that we see all of these types of things. Think of the idea of, now I need to do a walkthrough in an apartment rental. They've got facilities all over the city, and what you have to do, either pre-rent or post when they're exiting the property, there's always a walkthrough. Now, why should I have to be there physically? Why can't I just have the property renter, when they're starting the rental, to walk through using video? We capture then all of the things that are right and wrong with the property, and so now we have a much better record of it through the video log, and the same on the exit. Let's make sure that, and so it's super cost effective for the agent to sit in a centralized place and be able then to schedule those walkthroughs in back to back, because now I don't have to drive. So we're seeing it change business models in use cases like that. And I'll use one more just because it's obvious, but in our household it's very near and dear, which is education. And people talked about, we're either in the classroom or we're online, but in fact the school district we're in is hybrid. And so simultaneously there'll be kids in the class and kids online, and the teachers in this school district will have to manage both of them simultaneously. And you think about that option that parents now have, the ability to go do that, so that they ensure the safety and they do what's right for their family. That is an amazing extension and use of video in this particular case. So we're seeing those types of things. We're seeing very interesting things in government. So if you think about, how do we engage with individuals today to be able to ensure that they have the right services? So now we're seeing governments move a lot to cloud services that include video so that they can improve the engagement with their constituents. We're seeing those types of use cases. And then the last thing that we're seeing, you have the uses that we do today, like we're using right now. But more and more now companies are saying, how do I reimagine each customer engagement point? For example, in my application, can I do one touch to a video interaction? Right? On my website, can I now go to one touch to now connect with a consultant, a subject matter expert, somebody who can help me in the decision process, provide me information, sales consultation to accelerate my ability to make decisions. And so we're now seeing that across all the different types of industries to say, I've got applications, I've got websites. Now, where can I insert video to actually change the way that I engage with these folks? And so what we're trying to go do from an 8x8 perspective is make that easy to do. So we'll say, for 99 cents, you can come out and you can start having video meetings to make it super. Give you the ability then to embed video into your applications and put it wherever you think it's necessary to improve your engagement. And then we've included it in our unified communication as a service product so that you can do video conferencing just as part of the services in the way that you communicate in all of your workflows. So what we're trying to do, back to your other comment, is make video this ubiquitous way in which people can safely, cheaply collaborate and create through video.
Yeah, I'm seeing a pattern that I really like for some of the use cases you just described, which is things that require me to leave the house multiple times. The first few times you do it on video, right? If you're looking at apartments, at some point you're going to have to leave the house and walk through an apartment, but the first walkthrough could be on video. There's a commercial, I think it's a car commercial, where the car dealer is doing it over video, and the guy is saying, "Hey, can you kick the tires? Hey, can you open the hood? Hey, can you?" The stuff you do when you first walk to the dealership, because you don't walk into the dealership and walk out with a car. You walk in and you kick the tires and you listen to the radio, and then you go home and think and you come back. do that first trip, over video. I'd love to do that with my mechanic. Anytime my car makes a funny noise, I drive in for the first question, which is, can I drive it for another week or do I got to stop now? And then there's a second time where I bring it in for him to fix. I would love for the first time to hold it up and start it and say, you hear that noise? And for him to say, don't drive it, or say, you bring it in a couple weeks. Save me that first trip. Especially, well, even post-pandemic, none of us like unnecessary trips. None of us like unnecessary errands. None of us like having to do things 2 or 3 times. So eliminating those trips is always a good idea. But now it's a matter of safety. Every time I leave the house, it's potential exposure. So, and we still need to live our lives. We still need to go to the doctor. We still need to buy new cars. But if I could do it with one trip instead of three, it's not just a convenience. It's a safety thing. So I could see why
Yeah,
that would
and
be,
it's time. I mean, I'm sorry, it's time. I want that time back. I don't want to lose that time anymore, and I want to use that time. I want to keep that time in my life, and that's such an important part of it.
Yeah, exactly. Time is, we used to have these lives where we worked 9 to 5 and then we had all this free time. And now we have these blended lives, which I think is better. I'd rather be free. If at 2 in the afternoon I want to take a nap or take a walk or go to the gym or whatever, and then work till 9 at night, I think that's better. But when I'm always working and always doing things and always being productive, time just seems to, and as I get older, time just seems to go. I can't believe how much time I wasted in my first career commuting. I don't want to do the math, but
Yes.
if there was a time when I had an hour-and-a-half commute each way for a job that I had, that I did for years. And you think, what was I doing? I was listening to music. I like music. I was listening to talk radio. Okay. I could have been writing. I could have been creating. I could have been producing videos. I could have been working, or I could have been living. I could have been practicing guitar. All this wasted time. It's nothing good came out of this year. I hate like trying to act like it was good in any way, but we did find some good if we've learned to trust video and to be okay with it and rely on it. Um, and with eight by eight,
That's right.
the fact that
And we
you
can,
made it free to start. I mean, everyone has some sort of freemium thing going on, but I just go right to 8x8.vc and just click start meeting without even logging in. Uh, we're trying to make the ease of entry as easy as possible, and a lot of the guys have got it, but wow, I don't see how you can make it any easier than that.
that's right. We want it to become part of your life, and as you described, we don't want to forget. So as we go forward, we want you to, the audience, the customers, the people, to say, how do I use video to maintain what I learned about how I can get some of my life back? Think of those 15 hours a week that you had in the car, right? Let's not go back to that. Let's invest those in more productive ways.
Yeah. And of course, I'm not saying trash all the office buildings. We still need to go to work. We still have collaborative work to do.
Yeah.
But if you work 40 hours a week and you've always been thinking, I could do 30 of them, at home, then maybe you work at home 3 days a week and only come in 2 days a week, which is great because if there's, only two-fifths as many people in the office at any time, it'll be a little easier to social distance. So it's kind of a win-win on that one.
Exactly right. Yeah, let's be safe and let's use and be more productive.
Great.
Great point.
Well, thanks so much. This is a great discussion. We got to take a little break now and get ready for our next guest. But if anyone has any questions, they can find out more just by going to 8x8.com.
Absolutely, that'd be the perfect place. And David, it's always a pleasure. You got a great show, great format, and superb topic. Thanks so much. It's been an honor. Thank you
Thanks
for
so much.
having me.
Really appreciate it. Take care.